My name is Victor Chaney, and I'm the creator, the writer, the director, as well as the acting coach. I did post production, and I also played Julius, which is the villain in the movie. I created the movie based on someone needing me to help write a movie for them to help release an album that they were going to try to release, but that never worked out. So the movie was created, and therefore it was mine. So I had to keep doing something with it, and I was really intrigued by the story and what I had written, so I really wanted to see that come to life on film. The script took me from beginning to end about 14 days to write. That's writing every day for about an hour and a half. Some days I wrote for 4 hours. Some days I didn't write in that 14-day span, but it took me about 14 days, equivalent to 2 weeks basically, to write the movie. Well, like I said, the movie was written intentionally for two teenage kids, a couple teenage kids that were going to have an R&B album for an individual that it didn't turn out to work that way. So Sebastian was the main character created. Julius, it was not hard for me to come up with Julius. I figured myself as playing that part, so I kind of wrote the part for myself, basically. Consequences is the main thing that I wanted to focus on. The consequences for your actions and the choices that you make in life. There is a consequence for every action that you take, and sometimes people get away with things that they shouldn't get away with, but in reality, majority of the time, you get caught up in what you're doing. Well, that's one thing about myself as a writer. Being that I grew up in the South, I tend to try to keep a lot of racial issues in play in my scripts because I deal with a lot of racial issues on a daily basis, being in the city that I live in the region of the United States that I live in. It was basically to captivate the fact that this white man had stayed to raise a child that was not his in an environment that he was not used to. So it was real challenging for me to try to make it work, but I did. As well, I wrote in a couple characters to kind of ease the tension in his life, like Officer Mike, his cousin, to not just say that he left his entire family behind for the sake of this kid, that he still had some type of family to fall on. I don't think that the character was taken out of context or unbelievable, for the fact that in this country, I'm pretty sure there are people that have sacrificed themselves to raise kids in different regions and different cultures and backgrounds and ethnic groups. And I don't think that Big Jack was a real mythical character. I think that he was someone that could be seen as real and true. Well, the fact that I didn't want to really dwell too hard on the young people, but they make a lot of bad decisions and bad mistakes in life. The fact that how he was treating Dana to begin with in the movie, treating her like basically an object and not a person. And when he finally did find someone that appealed to him and I guess would say that made him feel true love and have some feelings for this young lady, he kind of screwed that all up when he made the wrong decision to follow and stay true to the wrong people in his life. Well, I know for a fact that I created an acting bug in a couple of characters, being Randy Lawson and as well as John, that played Officer Mike in the movie. Actually, everyone in the script basically was a first-time actor, except for maybe Jalon Stewart that played Cookie in the movie. She had been in a couple roles before. Other than method acting and school plays or something like that, no one had really never been in front of the camera before. As well, myself, I had never been behind the camera before, and but I'm pretty sure we pulled off a pretty decent job. And if I didn't say this in this interview, you probably wouldn't know that everybody was a first timer. Well, since I first started, the day we started the filming of this movie and the last day that we shot, February of 2010, I myself had accepted Jesus in my life, and I found God, and I'd made a change in my life because actually, as I stated earlier, the character of Julius, I didn't really have to think much about him, and I myself didn't have to really study or try to find the character or create the character, because that was truly me. And if you've seen the movie, then you would know that I was not I would say, a nice person, so to speak. Though I wasn't a real tyrant, I mean, I just was a vulgar, nonchalant about certain things, and I spoke my mind a lot. But at the same time, like I said before, I was born of this world, but I was also raised in the church because I knew right from wrong. But when I found Christ, it's amazing for me to see that I did have a chance to record the man that I was, and to be able to go back and see where I was in life, because now the man I was is now the man I am sitting before you today. And with that being said, I will have a little more thought and a little more mind processing on what it is I write, and the dialogue and scripts and the type of things that I write in the future. Of course, the first thing I did, I've been married now about 17, 18 years, and I have 2 kids, 13 and 14. And to me, the hair that I had, if you notice in the movie, it was long hair. I've always had long hair in all my life, and to me, that was one of the most precious things to me, because it was something that I've had the most relationship with in anything in my life other than my mom, and my sisters and brothers. So that was a sacrifice I made to basically say that this is real, this is not a joke, this is not a phase or a fad. I'm devoting my life to Christ. And currently you can see now that I'm in the process of growing my hair back, because I'm growing it back as a new creature in Christ. I no longer have the stench of the clubs and the drugs and the drinking and the foul thoughts that I used to have, along with the other hair. That's all been cut away, and now I've been made a new creature, and that's why I'm in the process of growing my hair back now. Well, the future for Dre is basically and essentially the same future for After J. After J is the movie production company founded by Randy Lawson as well as myself. Currently, we have just finished the second script for our second feature film, which would be entitled Deposit Slip. It is a race-based film, and the synopsis of the film is, it is about a black family that has moved to a predominantly white town for a business adventure, and it's where the father quickly learns that racism still exists, even within himself. It's a very powerful and gripping movie, and it's in touch with modern day racism. Honestly, I'm intrigued and really happy that I had this experience and this opportunity to work with such a cast that I did. In the beginning, we had a few complaints because we had a few people that were like bad apples in the bunch. But once we weeded those people out, it was really smooth sailing, and the people were dedicated, and they were really enthusiastic about doing whatever that I asked them to do. It wasn't any feedback negatively. It was just a real family type. I mean, I fed these people daily at my house. They came to my house and I would feed them. And I mean, I done as much as I could to accommodate them and make them feel comfortable. I mean, though I'm not a big shot Hollywood director yet, but I mean, I'm trying to find my niche in the game to really just say that we're serious here at After J. This is not the beginning. Currently, I mean, we have a lot of scripts to work on from myself as well as Randy Lawson, as well as outside parties. So, I mean, be on the lookout for After J. And when you see After J, realize that you're looking at a serious entity in the movie field.